And it shows again that they will pay, because when they go, there's no everlasting light. They're gone. If they stay on this planet, they will not have everlasting light. They will die. So it is their problem now trying to get off of this planet as we ascend, while we as souls were trying to get into the heavens of consciousness, because now the things that our parents and dumb children and stuff used to laugh about and say we were dumb about will become a reality. That is the ecstasy and bliss that we're shooting for. That is the hell and covering that they're trying to avoid. And therein lies the problem. Therein lies the big clash.
Okay. Now you I mean, you had me and you had discussed earlier about the control that the reptilians have currently over planet Earth, and someone made a comment in the chat room that not all reptilians are evil. But then the question I have to ask is that, you know, anytime that you have a being or a race of beings that choose to enslave another species or another race of beings, I just can't see them as something positive or something good for my life. So
well,
I wanted to talk. Go ahead.
If you remember, or if you're knowledgeable of whichever way it goes, amongst some of the Dogon people, and one of the Tuaregs and Siluks, and so they spoke of Damballa, the good serpent. Okay, Damballa was again part of the serpentine that did try to help mankind, and did try to help human, and even try to help us, men, descended from God, because they did understand that down the line they may be able to gain a soul, possibly if they live well enough. This is why a lot of the literature and scriptures in some of these holy books make some sense, but are disguised because of the ignorance of the practitioners. The whole point is, again here, there can be good and bad in all things if the vibrations are correct. In general, though, the serpent people resented us. They resented, again, any soul that could go into dimensions when they were locked to the fourth dimension, and they've tried to make life here on Earth very miserable. Yes, there may be some good species, just like amongst the racism here, there are those who are not racist, but we categorize by saying all white people hate black people, all black people hate white people, yellow people hate brown people. The hatred is something that comes from within, not from the color of the skin. So as I say again, we're beginning to wake up to the true fact, not of race, but of consciousness.
Right.
Is it true in saying, because from my investigation, I noticed that it seemed like the body itself was, you know, some type of invention from the same individuals that seeded the Egyptian empires, the empires of Ma'at or matter. Is it safe to say that the body itself seems to be a composition of animal-like life forms, but the spirit itself is, as I say, it's solo, it's from somewhere?
Foods or get into certain toxics and poisons like this. These bodies are animal hybrid bodies. They were made by the Dracons. They've been over here ruling us for about 4 million years. They've been really going crazy for 400,000 years. That's why they don't feel that they owe us anything, that we are their captives. We are like their little zoos. But what they fail to understand is different souls come into these bodies for the experience. And whether or not they help to hybrid these bodies or genetically modify them, it doesn't matter. A soul is here for the experience. They don't have souls. They cannot come out of souls and go to areas of dark matter and dark worlds, so therefore they seem to forget that. Or they have been so species-specific that they have worked out all of their higher consciousness and can only think on certain levels in consciousness. So yes, these bodies, to me, if you notice, they have floaters in these bodies. They got all other kind of things in these bodies. The mitochondria are everywhere. And I think that some of that is, of course, is genetically modified to be put in there, and some of it, of course, is in the bodies themselves. We are always changing form. Radiations help us to change forms. Drugs and poisons and toxins help us to change form. And now, if we're going to stay with this planet, we're going to have to change form and consciousness. So I don't know whether that speaks to what you were saying, but that's the way I understand it.
It does definitely, Doctor, and I really want to ask a question that's very important because I didn't write anything down previous to the show because I just wanted the energy to flow. And I wanted to talk about why I know for sure that they're using what they just call external merkaba, which is really a ship to do what they need to do, but we have something like an internal merkaba. And I wanted to talk about spinning the merkaba in the geometric shape that one should visualize when they spin, because of course they have the six-dimensional, what they just call the Star of David, but was definitely didn't belong to David and was something like a German Hexmeister Is the actual shape still, though, of the body to get it to dissolve a shape of 6, though, because it's a carbon-based structure?
Well, you see, that's limiting, again, the carbon to mutate. If you remember, what is that woman's name? Dr. Mona Harrison, who they killed, was an excellent researcher into the molecular structure of water, which forms crystals, because, as I stated again at the very beginning, matter is only energy that is slowed down. So when we get higher in vibration and higher in frequency, and the idea that it can be brought back to pure...
We're at the 7:30 mark, so this is the time where I start taking questions from people in the chat room. The first question I have to ask you is, how does one find out where their spirit is from?
Well, spirit is to, how can I put this? Mind is to spirit as brain is to the physical body. The spirit is a form of consciousness that is now going to use mind as its brain. People will say, have you lost your mind? No. But why do we say, have you lost your mind? How can you lose what you can't hold? Which lets you know we understand that matter and form are simply rates of vibration. So people say, are you a lunatic? Well, that's the name of the moon, Luna, when it was first driven into place here. But we were affected by it. But remember that, so now we even use these phrases. These phrases only show what we used to know versus now what is taught. We've flunked. This planet has been controlled so much so that we've gone backwards in time. We've gone backwards. Instead of progressing, we've gone backwards because we took so many low-vibrating souls. That's what people are doing. They are now vibrating. They want to know more. They know something is not right. All the movies that are look at the movies that are coming out here now. I mean,
yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous right now with the movies.
But it's not.
It's getting a little ridiculous.
It's not.